Hello, guys, and welcome to this evening's tropical update. We are going to be taking a look at the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic side and what could be brewing in the Atlantic here in the next week. But first, we are here on the National Hurricane Center page, and as you can see, we got yet another disturbance here in the Eastern Pacific. This is Invest 92E, which it just got dubbed this morning. This is disturbance number one. It is a broad area of low pressure that is located about 500 miles south-southwest of Mexico, is producing a large area of showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear generally conducive for a gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression is likely to form during the next few days, while it moves slowly to the west-northwest, well off the coast of Mexico. So the 48 hours is moderate at 60%, and the 5 day chances is high at 70%. So this has done a lot of work really quickly in this short time frame. All right, so here we are on tropical tidbits, and now we're looking at the peculiars here. And this is located 12.6 north, 107.3 west. Maximum sustained winds are at 20 knots, which is 25 miles an hour. Minimal central pressure is 1,009 millibars. Environmental pressure is 1,011 millibars. Radius of circulation 120 nautical miles, and the radius of maximum wind is 50 nautical miles. All right, so let's take a look at this first. And as you can see, these are the spaghetti plots for the direction of where the storm is probably most likely going to go. And most of these models have a general agreement with a west-northwest movement for a little bit before it dips a little bit south and then straight west. So these models are definitely in agreement of where it's definitely going to go. So that's with that. Okay, so here's the GEFS tracks and minimal MSLP. And as you can see, there's a lot of spaghetti plots here, which is pretty much all the ensemble members of the GEFS. And as you can see with this black line, this is the average of everything that is going on here. Okay, so the starting point here is 1,008 millibars. And as you can see, it starts to go northwest and then starts to go down. And then it has 1,005 millibars, so it's starting to strengthen a little bit. Down to the south and to the west, 1,004 millibars, and then 1,002 millibars. And it seems after that it goes on a little bit of a weakening trend at 1,004 millibars. It generally has the same idea with all the spaghetti plots and that going west northwest to northwest and then dipping back to the west as we go out through time. All right, so here's the GEPS tracks in minimal MSLP, and as you can see, we have a starting point of 1,009 millibars. And as we go out through time, it goes down to 1,005 millibars, 1,005 millibars, and then weakens down to 1,007 millibars. So as you guys know, this is the average of everything. All right, so here's the most important thing here is the Invest 92E model intensity guidance. Most of these spaghetti models don't make it a tropical storm until 48 hours. So we got about 2 days to pay attention to what's going on with this. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to take 48 hours. It could be more time, it could be less time. It just depends on how the conditions are doing at that current point in time. But as you can see here, we got 4 of them not even making it to tropical storm status. It just says nope. But there's 5 of them here that take us up to tropical storm status, and even 3 of them that take it up to hurricane status. So that's pretty interesting to see. I don't personally have a prediction of what the peak's going to be because nothing is really it's concrete yet. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. Anyways, here's the GFS here for the Eastern Pacific, and this was initialized at 18Z. This came out not that long ago, so we'll see what happens here. 24 hours, as you can see, this is our starting point right here. This circle right in here, we're going to see what the wind shear is here. The wind shear is only 6 knots, so it has some pretty good shear to work with. 48 hours, it rapidly strengthens into a 986 hurricane. That's amazing. Still only working with 6 knots of shear. So 72, same thing. Well, not the same thing. We're down 4 more millibars at 982. It is working with 13 knots of shear. So it's starting. The shear is starting to rise a little bit here. 96 hours, as you can see, that shear started to take its toll on it a little bit, up back down to the 989. It's working with 9 knots of shear, so maybe it might make a comeback here. 120 hours, nah, it pretty much stays about the same. 991. It's working with 10 knots of shear, and we'll go out 2 days 6 and 7 while we're out of here. As you see, it starts to weaken here as we get out to day 6, and wind shear is definitely not the problem. I think what it is the cooler sea surface temperatures that it's going to experience at this point in time. 168, as you can see, it's still relatively on the weaker side as we go out the time, and it's working with 8 knots of shear. All right, so here is the European. This was initialized at 12Z, and as you can see, nothing's really there yet. So here we are at 24 hours, and as you can see here, there's 1,009 millibars. 48 hours, pretty much for the next like 48, 72, 96, 120. It really doesn't do anything with it. 110. Yeah, the European doesn't do anything with Invest 92, which is pretty amazing. As we all think that the European is the king of tropical cyclones, but it doesn't do very good with picking up tropical cyclone genesis. So that's something that needs to be fixed with the European, if at all possible. All right, so here we are back at the National Hurricane Center page, and we are taking a look at the Atlantic side of things now. And as you can see, the 48 hours, we have nothing to worry about. 5 days, nothing to worry about. But come next week, that's all going to change, and we're going to be taking a look at that here momentarily as we go out through this video. Oh, we don't want that anymore. Here we go. Sea surface temperatures. As you can see, these 26s are starting to really rise to the north here, but this is going to be a discussion for another video. What I really want to focus on is the Gulf and the Caribbean right now, because this is where the potential of a tropical cyclone can be noted, as we will see later on. As you can see here, we got some 29s. We're even flirting with 30s here in the western and northwestern Caribbean here. So this is plenty warm enough for tropical cyclone genesis. The Gulf of Mexico, 29s, 28s, 27s, 26s. I told you guys in a week that these water temperatures are going to start warming up, and they have definitely warmed up to the threshold of tropical cyclone development, which is the 26 line, which is 79.9 degrees, but we'll obviously round that up to 80, because that's the logical thing to go. But as you can see, where this potential tropical cyclone can be, it has plenty of fuel to work with here. And we're still about a week out, so these temperatures can rise even more between now and then. And that's kind of worrying. Like, I'm not expecting, obviously it's June. I'm not expecting some like major hurricane or anything, but there's a chance, if this thing develops, that it could become a borderline category 1 hurricane. I'm not taking that off the table until farther proven otherwise. So now that we looked at that, we're now taking a look at the GFS for the Atlantic, and as you can see, nothing. This was initialized at 18Z, so just came out. As you can see, 24 hours we got nothing. 48 hours, you can see the moisture that's starting to build up in the Caribbean here. I do believe that's from some of the waves that are propagating in from the Eastern Caribbean. 72 hours, as you can see, it's starting to really, you know, do its thing. Central American gyre is starting to form up here. 96 hours, as you see, there's almost no area in the Caribbean that isn't wet at this point in time. 120, as you can see, nothing is really popping up as far as low pressure areas, though. Since there's nothing popping up, we're going to go out to 6 and 7 as well. 144, as you see, the gyre is kind of dissipating a little bit. 168, nothing. So the GFS doesn't really do anything. Now, as you guys know, not that long ago, the GFS was really, really, really consistent on a low pressure system forming in the northwestern Caribbean, but that has since, in the last 24 hours, been a totally different story. As the GFS doesn't want to do anything with it at all anymore. But as we go out through time, we're going to see if that all changes and see if this actually, starts to catch up with the, GEFS and the GEPS and the EPS as well. So it's going to be an interesting time over the next week to see if these models, start to pick up on it again. Speaking of other models, here's the European for the Atlantic, and as you can see, 24 hours we don't got anything. 48, nada. 72 doesn't look like much. 96, nope. 120, 144, 168. So with that being said, I do want to look at the maybe we can go to the vert 850 millibar vert page and 24 hours. And this is where we really get the juice of it all here. As you can see, the wind barbs are starting to rotate around here in the Eastern Pacific. We're trying to get these westerly winds in, and as you can see, we got the easterly winds here, in the Central American area. And as you guys know, once the easterly winds meet the westerly winds, that's when rotation starts to happen and vorticity starts spinning up. And as you guys know, you guys see the rotating wind barbs. That's the Central American gyre that we all have been talking about recently. So we got 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. As you can see, the European favors a somewhat of a vert of the CAG going into the Eastern Pacific. So nothing really concrete. The only thing that's really showing right now is the GEFS, the GEPS, and the EPS as well. So with that being said, this is from my Twitter page here. I will leave the link in the description if you guys want to follow it. So this is from the Global Tropics Hazards and Benefits Outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. And as you guys see, this is from June 5th to June 8th. And as you guys see a solid red line here. That is for Invest 92E. This is most likely going to go on to become a tropical storm, more than likely. But once you get to June 9th to June 15th, you see 2 areas of high confidence for tropical cyclone development. So there could be 2 tropical cyclones that's going to develop in the Atlantic between June 9th and June 15th. I said the keywords there, could. That doesn't mean that this is 100% going to happen, but it's a high probability that it's probably going to happen. And with that being said, I'm going to keep on top of this for you guys, as I always do. I try to give you guys the best information that I possibly can. Anyways, until next time, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.